Hi guys, welcome back. This section we're just going to keep continuing blocking out just certain little areas, and we're going to start adding a little bit more of the detail that you see in the picture. We're going to start sculpting a little bit more of the accurate shape of our character, and we'll just see how far we get. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is just kind of use my nerves again, and we're just going to add a couple isoparms, especially to the arm area. So right about there. And again, you only have to work on 1/2 right now, just to fill it up so when we go to convert, we'll have a little bit more of an easier time. And same thing with the bottom here as well. Now these ones are going to look a little different because he has a hand on this side, and then he has a gun on the other. So I'm actually going to cut this part right here for now. And you can see I'm starting to use shortcuts more and more as we go. I'm just going to double check to make sure I showed you guys how to make shortcuts. I think I did. If not, we'll just do it real quick. We'll just go hold Shift Control Alt, whatever operation you want to have. So under Mesh, say you want to combine it. At the same time holding Shift Control Alt, you can make a little icon. That's just in case you missed it from earlier. And again, we're just going to insert a few isoparms right about there. Alright, so we can get rid of this little guy right here. So looking at our model, we pretty much have everybody in place as far as basic geometry. So we are pretty much ready to start adding a little bit more of the definition that you see here for our little character. I'm going to grab my chest here, grab this vertex, and I'm going to block this area off right here. So I'm just going to grab, this is a polygon now, remember, this area right here, and to around the back. I'm going to square it up a bit so it's a little bit flatter. It's going to look kind of funny at first, but don't panic too much. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to recreate, see how he has this little ridge happening there? That's what I want to kind of duplicate right now. So I'm going to deselect everybody at the front, and then just select that line on the back here, and just drop that down. Alright. So we're just moving things around a little bit, and we can grab these guys now from the front. And we'll just rotate them up a bit. And see how we're going to pull it out a little. Just a little. We're trying to match up that image plane as best we can now. That's what we want. We're going to have a big barrel chest for right now. So we can get rid of this part, and we're going to go back into a regular polygon now. So under Modify, Convert, Polygons to subds, or subds to polygons actually. Option box. Again, remember, make sure vertices are selected. Hit Apply. And now we can go in and we're going to start adding some details. So I'm bringing these guys up because I want them to flow kind of around a little bit of a circle shape. I want them to kind of zip around there. But we are going to actually cut our character there. So we're going to start most of this detail from the middle head. We're going to make our way down. The arms are going to be the last thing we're going to build because we're still going to build the hands. And I usually wait for hands if you've seen other tutorials of mine, because they're like a little beast all themselves, a little model all themselves. So most of the time I'll wait till later on to get those guys underway and started. Especially robotic hand. A lot of information happening with those most of the time. So I'm just going to kitty cornering things around again. Now if I want to make my life even easier, I'm going to hide my NURBS for now. So I'm just going to go under my Show tab and just go Hide NURB Surfaces. And then I'm going to grab that whole line I want to keep really straight. So I want to make sure that these guys are going to be very straight from here. And again, that, straighten them right out, and pop up a bit. And the other thing we can do, even to make this a little easier, is we can just merge this set of lines here. And this is going to clean up our model at the same time. So I'm going to grab two vertices, right click, select vertex, and we're going to go into our polygon mesh, edit mesh, and we're going to make sure that we have our merge selected. You should see them pop together. Now we can go around hitting G to repeat last command, and I'm just going to merge these two lines up. And then we're going to add some lines using our split polygon tool. Having a hard time seeing, again, use all your tools, use your X-ray. And raise them up. So with the two lines, we're getting a funny little crease in the corner there. We don't want that. We want them to have a nice what will be a nice little plate of armor separating the two there. So I'm just going to bring that down there. So once we were all straightened up like that, we can grab our split polygon tool, once again, edit mesh. Now we can go around on this side. Oops. I want to be kind of close. Actually, a little too close on that side. There we go. See, about there should be fine for now. Just make your way around the back here. Just kind of eyeball it. Make sure that the spacing is kind of close. You don't want it to be too off. There we go. And right click, select those little faces now that we created by adding that extra line. See, this way was a little bit faster, even though we had those two lines there. We had a little bit more control over the placement of it by merging them first and then just adding the line separate after. So there you go, we have a nice little ridge that we have for our character. Now we can grab this little section right here, grab all the bottom little vertices, and again, you're going to be doing a lot of eyeballing with this middle area here. So I'm going to grab them all. I'm going to grab my scale tool and I'm going to just scale in just a little bit. I want to create a little bit of a landing or a ridge. There, so again, grab them all. And I'm just going to not scale, but just move in a little. You can see how that works. So when we bring back NURB surfaces, see how we're starting to create that little ridge that you see there. Now the other thing we need to do is we need to add back some extra lines so that when we go to widen this little area here, to make it look like it's a folded metal, it actually has some width to it. We need to have a sharp line. So again, I'm going to go into our side view. We're going to grab our cut face tool this time, which is fifth one down. Works pretty much like our merge tool, but you can draw one line at the same time. See? I'm just going to add a line there. Now on the bottom one, it might not work quite as well because we have this little divot happening inside there. So you're just going to grab your split this time, and we're just going to come up and around. So one thing for me, why I prefer organics so much, is that they flow so much better. With hard surface and like robots and things like that, it gets a little tedious because there's so much going on that you have to look out for. And you gotta make sure that all the corners have a nice little edge and all that stuff. With organics, you can get so much character into them. And it's just a little bit more flowing as far as geometry goes. For me, anyway. I'm just going to move this back. Something similar to that. Now we can show you what it's going to look like with a smooth a bit. So if we go into our convert polygons to subds, again, option box, just make sure nothing changed. I have mine high, default's 1000. Apply. You see how we made a nice new plate. This needs a little area of help right there because it kind of sinks in, but you can see it's already starting to look better. So we can bring this little fella up and over a bit here. He's a little bit down there. Same with this little guy. So it looks like at some point they got moved around. Looking in the front, so okay, no problem. Just move them around. Alright. So again, I'm just going to hide all the areas I'm not going to touch in this section. I'm just going to select them all. Hide selection. Convert. And we're just going to make sure that the shape is what we want first before we do any more work. So we're going to bring that down a little. That doesn't look too bad. These guys could be a little straighter. And we'll duplicate special. And bring back everybody real quick. And just take a look from our front view and see if there's anything we can adjust. We can bring the side area down a bit. And the front looks okay. He's going to have some plates up here that they're going to mask where his shoulder goes in. That is the other thing that you guys can look at right now while you have your nerves up, is how the shoulders are going to interact with that chest piece. So we're going to move these guys over just a little bit here. And down. Just like that. Because you don't want it touching the metal. He wants to be able to have some range of motion. And just little things that you all have to be aware of. So that looks much better. So we can just get rid of that sign. And Control G, duplicate special. Much better. Special again, and we're going to work on the other part of the chest, or his stomach and his head in this section. So let's grab them, hide everybody else. Okay, so we're going to convert this into a polygon. First I'm going to pull down an isoparm right about there. Remember those edges? Edges are very important, especially when you're working with metal type models. Insert, modify, convert. Into position. So bring everybody back because I know there's nerves hiding under there probably. If not, it's okay. And we're just going to add a couple lines to define that stomach area a bit. So we're going to grab our cut face tool. Not our split, but our cut one. And we're going to add a line up here. So we're going to add a line right here. And another one right about here. It doesn't have to be as close as the other one, but you want to be able to have a little control when we go into the subdivision to pull out this area here. a little bit more rounded if you look in the picture. So we're just going to kind of push out just a little. I'm going to grab the top area here, pull that in. We're going to round this off a bit. So it looks something like that. Now if you notice in the drawing, it looks like there's a bevel right over here. So it kind of looks like a separate piece of metal over top. It's something else we can play around with. So we can actually go back into regular poly, duplicate, just a regular duplicate, move this out, and we're going to delete some of this area here. I'm just going to delete it like that. I'm going to leave a little bit of a wing there. See how that kind of comes out? Make sure you grab those little guys there. They can cause trouble later on. So something like that. You're going to grab your split polygon tool. And we're going to draw another nice edge right down the side here. There. This little fella's going to come over here. And don't worry about doing the other side. We can just cut it up real fast, just to again save us some time. I'm going to merge these two little guys together. So that we still keep that shape, but we got our quads back. And then we're going to go up here. We're going to make these plates. So we're going to cut that section there. Go into our cut face again. And you can see now I'm starting to speed up a little bit now because we know how to do shortcuts and things like that. And just move back into position. And with this little guy, we're going to have to make him just a tad bit wider. I'm just going to bring it over here. Now, if you wanted to, you can have more plates as well. Like I say, the drawing is kind of vague of what's happening in there, so you really have some fun playing around with your own ideas here. If you were in a studio, like I said before, you'd probably have better drawings, and you'll have your director giving you more ideas and detail about what's happening in there. But for right now, it's the tutorial. You guys go to town and really make it your own. So now we can duplicate special. Oops, but we got a freeze transformation on that little guy first. Modify freeze transformation. There we go. So now we can convert into a sub-D. It still needs a little work. But you can see once we had some depth to it, making it a little wider so it's not just these static, very thin plates. It'll wrap around pretty much just like the sub-D underneath it. Alright. So we're in the detailing stage, guys. So let's go back up and let's just actually merge these guys together real quick just so that we can see how they're going to look. So I'm just going to grab top two there, just combine, polygons combine. I'm not sure if we've done that, so just in case you don't know where it is, it's under mesh, just hit combine, it should turn green. Turn your x-ray on, you're going to grab your vertex now, and you're going to start off in the middle. And you're going to go right down, merging all those little guys together. Very careful on the bottom here. Just two a little close together. Alright. Now the other thing I like to do is when I merge two pieces of geometry like that, I just go into your normals and go conform. And that makes sure that both sides are facing the same way as far as the positioning and the direction of your normals. It's sometimes if you're bringing into another application like ZBrush, you'll have one side with the normals facing inwards to the model and the other one facing out. So they should be out. So that's just something to be aware of for later on if you want to take it into another application, especially like ZBrush. So I can go edit, delete by type history. Now what we can do is just make this armor a little bit thicker. Remember I was saying we're going to make it like real plates where it's not just like paper thin there. So we can right click and we can select them all at the same time because there's still one piece of geometry. Now we're going to go mesh, edit mesh, extrude. Now we're not going to center or anything, we're just going to pull our blue arrow and see how we can make it a little thicker. So we're just going to go, let's say, about a millimeter or two just by eyeing it in our viewport. So now when we convert, we're going to have some really nice round plates. Now if these aren't as close to the body as you want, we're going to put some rivets down the middle and things like that so they can flow a little bit. You can go in there into your side views and you're going to grab just the two on the outside set of 4 or wherever you have them if you want to kind of move them in a bit. I'm not going to move the bottom one in because I want it to kind of be a little bit looser from the body. And now we can kind of see how we can just kind of guide them into place a little. So it looks like they wrap around a little bit more. So again, that's one way of adding some detail. Now if we look at the chest again, it looks like we have this whole little section right here where my cursor is a separate piece of geometry as well. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to grab our character back into polys. And we're going to duplicate once again. And we're going to kind of do the same little process. And we're just going to grab, it looks like it stops around his chin. So we're just going to grab these faces right here. Let's try to go underneath. We can always get rid of those two if they cause us trouble. And take it, delete it. I'm going to push it back into position. So you see the detail's starting to come already. We've barely even done anything, but the more plates and things you start adding, especially when we get into like the little things like bolts and stuff like that, your model's really going to change quite fast. I'm just going to delete that little guy because he's being in trouble. Now I'm just going to bring him out just a little bit, this plate here. Just a little. Just like that. And I'm going to grab my split polygon tool because I want this edge to be nice and clean. So I'm going to come right over the side here. Right up to about there. And if you notice in our little drawing here, we have this little indentation too, so we're going to be aware of that and we want to try to mimic that as well. So we're going to build a couple new little lines using our split polygon tool. You could use your cut face here as well. It really depends on you. So we're going to go to our front view and we're going to grab vertices here. So this little guy, he's going to come to about here. Just like that. Now we're going to put another line right here so we can create that little edge there. And this time while I'm in the front view, I'm just going to grab my cut face tool, just a split, add another line there. And it looks like on the way down to the bottom it kind of kitty corners back in a little bit. So we're going to do that as well. And I think I'm actually going to just delete this bottom part here. So the plate stops right about there, so you can really see a difference. There we go. And then we need to grab a little line up on the top here. Enter. Alright. I'm going to pull out just a little. Right click, select faces. First we're going to duplicate. Special. Combine them both. X-ray, merge. And before we begin, enter. Right click, select faces, extrude. This time I'm going to push inwards. And as I go inwards a little bit, then I'm going to shrink in just a little. Just to give it a little bit of a concave. You see how the back part's kind of going inwards a little. And that'll help you with getting it to mold a little bit closer to the plate above it, or beneath it actually. So 3, duplicate special. And there you go. And the only thing that's bugging me is this isn't quite flush. So again, you just grab some of the ones on the end, corner them in a little bit. The one little trick that I use when I'm doing plates and things like that, you see this line that you see here when you select it, use that as a guide. You want it just to kiss the geometry underneath it a little bit. I'm just kind of moving it just so that that line starts to disappear. That just means that it's right up against what you want it to be. You play around with this as well. See how it's just kind of going in there a bit. You can rotate it a little if you want as well. Like that. But it needs a little work. So we got some areas here that aren't quite as nice as the other areas. This little part needs to come back out. So just go around, making sure that everybody's nice and equal. If you're not, again, it's a really easy, simple fix. Say you happen to move something by accident, you just grab 1/2, because you know that the other half is perfect. Duplicate special, and then problem is solved, other than remerging. And the only other thing is, again, these guys are kind of inwards a little bit too far. You just grab them. Best thing to do is just use your side view. Just make sure that that is like really nice flat metal. And I'm just going to move in this area out. And I'll show you guys some other ways of doing it once we have everything built a little bit faster as well. So we can just duplicate special and there we go. So again, in one little half-hour section, we're starting to get more and more detail on our little character here. Since we made this plate over top here, we're going to widen our chest here just as we finish. Just a little bit more. Manage just a little. So that sits inside there. And same thing with that little area we made up top. So to bring it back out. So it's always evolving, always changing. Our job is just to keep making it flow. Right. So that'll do it for this section. In between sections, you can just play around with these little plates, get them molded as best you can to your model. And then in the next section, we're going to continue working on this middle core section here. We're going to get into our character's hood. And then once the hood's done, pretty much the main part of the body is ready to go for like all the little knickknacks, but we'll handle all of that stuff once everything is done. And that'll really start making them look like a robot. And we'll get into our character's head. So I hope you guys are doing okay, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Till then, take care.